Disney is famous for its magical stories. We think of princesses, talking animals, and happy endings, but these stories were not always so happy. They came from old fairy tales, and those tales were much darker. They had scary villains and sad endings. These stories were meant to teach children important lessons about the world. The original fairy tales were often violent and scary. They talked about difficult things like death and betrayal. These stories might seem too much for children today. But long ago, people told these stories to warn children about the dangers of the world. These stories also showed that life isn't always easy. Good things don't always happen to good people. Sometimes, bad things happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. This might seem sad, but it's also true. While Disney kept the magic of these old tales, they changed them. They made the stories less scary and more appropriate for children. They gave the stories happy endings, even if the original stories didn't have them. The Little Mermaid is a story we all know. Ariel dreams of becoming human and finding true love. But the original story by Hans Christian Andersen is much darker. In this story, the Little Mermaid doesn't even have a name. She is willing to give up everything for the prince. The Little Mermaid makes a deal with a sea witch. She trades her voice for legs, but every step she takes feels like walking on knives. And if she doesn't win the prince's love and marry him, she will turn into sea foam. The prince, unaware of her sacrifice, falls in love with another. The Little Mermaid is heartbroken. She watches as the prince marries another. She knows she will become foam. In the end, she dissolves into the sea. Disney changed the story to give it a happy ending. Ariel keeps her voice, though she does lose it for a while. She is able to tell the prince her feelings, and in the end, she defeats the sea witch and gets to be with her true love. Pinocchio is a wooden puppet who wants to become a real boy. Disney's Pinocchio is a mischievous but good-hearted puppet. He learns valuable lessons about honesty and bravery. But the original Italian story by Carlo Collodi is much darker. This Pinocchio is a naughty puppet who often lies and disobeys. In the original story, Pinocchio is tricked and mistreated. He is robbed, hanged from a tree, and almost skinned. He even accidentally kills his friend, the talking cricket, by throwing a hammer at it. The original story is a warning to children about the dangers of disobedience. Disney made Pinocchio a more likable character. He is still mischievous, but his heart is in the right place. He learns from his mistakes and eventually proves himself worthy of becoming a real boy. Snow White is another classic fairy tale. In the Disney version, the evil queen tries to kill Snow White with a poisoned apple. Snow White falls into a deep sleep, only to be awakened by true love's kiss. But the original story by the brothers Grimm is much more gruesome. In the original story, the evil queen doesn't just try to kill Snow White once, but 3 times. She orders a huntsman to bring her Snow White's heart. When that fails, she disguises herself and tricks Snow White 3 times, not just once with an apple. She is forced to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she dies a horrible death. Disney chose to focus on the magic and romance of the story. They removed the violence and gave the story a classic happy ending. Snow White is a symbol of goodness and innocence, while the evil queen represents jealousy and vanity.